Hello, welcome to our first climate video discussion talking about all sorts of different topics about the climate change, what's real, what isn't, and also make you think a little bit more. The object of this discussion is not to convince you one way or another, but just think about the topic on climate, what you can do, and also what's really out of your hands. So, when you want to visit the climate section on our website, NYNJPA Weather, just go to the public section, click on Climate Thoughts, and today we're going to talk about the western drought and fires that are part of our climate system in the desert Southwest, which I figured would be a good way to start this whole climate discussion, mostly because, well, there are some pretty impressive fires developing throughout California. Now, there is clearly a man-made influence to these climate fires that we are seeing, okay? These massive fires that have been developing throughout California and parts of the desert Southwest are clearly being enhanced by human action, whether that's building in areas where really we shouldn't be, or not clearing out the brush when we have the opportunity, or perhaps setting them up and basically igniting them. So all of these factors all are human influences along with our addition to CO2 in the atmosphere. With more CO2 in the atmosphere, it's warming the climate, and that also enhances the potential for drought for the desert Southwest. But it's not the whole story. You see, we're actually in a time period, if you look at the paleoclimatology, that's actually pretty wet for California and the desert Southwest. And that's kind of troubling when you think about where we are right now. Right now, we are climatologically favorable for what's called a mega drought. Those are droughts that can last for 30, 40, 50 years. And they have been known in the past, as I write in this discussion, to have a significant impact on obviously water, and also literally wiped out whole civilizations that were in place over the desert Southwest, or in the desert Southwest, should I say. Why is this important? Well, it's important to understand what you're dealing with. Okay, if you build and you live in an area where it's known to have long droughts, maybe you shouldn't have a golf course. Maybe you should probably save that water when you have above normal rainfall events with an El Nino. So what I'm trying to point out here in this discussion is that these droughts and these fire dangers are nothing new. It's not a climate change. It's part of their climate. It's kind of like saying, hey, we're having tornadoes in Tornado Alley. Well, it's not climate change. It's part of their climate. So what we're seeing here is nothing that's new. What's new is that you've taken millions of people and transported them into an area that is known to have literally no water for years on end. And we've been in a wet period up to this point. So some documented periods of prolonged drought from 1250 to 1290, the drought forced the Puebloans, I'm probably saying that wrong, out of the Chico Canyon and basically into more favorable areas where you had rainfall. Other similar droughts were documented in the early to mid 800s via what we could see via tree rings, mid 900s to 1100s, mid to late 1100s, and early 1300s, early 1400s, and late 1600s. These droughts lasted at least 20 years and lasted as long, in some cases, 50 years. What I'm trying to point out here is that these droughts are going to be coming back, and they're going to be driven by a prolonged negative PDO pattern. That's when we start to get cooler than normal waters along the west coast and warmer waters as you head towards the central and western Pacific. And unfortunately, it's starting to happen again. And again, we've been in a wet period for California, and unfortunately, I don't see this improving anytime soon. Okay, in fact, it's only going to get worse because Now, not only do you have the conditions that are starting to evolve for prolonged droughts in these regions, which is climatologically what you would expect, but now you have enhancement. Now you have poor water management. You have a large population that continues to move into those areas. And you also have the influence of the structures that we build are far more easier to burn. Combine that with poor forest management, and you basically have a tinderbox just waiting to go up. So unfortunately, the fires that we are seeing in California right now, it's not actually going to be something that's going to be going away anytime soon. Frankly, I'm not surprised that it's happening. There are ways that we can mitigate these fires. We can improve the way that we build our homes, especially in high fire threat areas. We can be more mindful of what we're doing when we're out camping, making sure those fires are put out, making sure that your power lines, for example, aren't going to get knocked down. Looking at you, power companies of California, PSE&G. There's a lot of stuff that we can do to prevent these fires. But unfortunately, this is the wet period right now, climatologically, for the desert Southwest. Let's hope for more El Niños, because if we go into a sustained mega drought, man, things are not going to be pretty for California and really much of the desert Southwest. Well, that's our first climate video discussion. I hope you enjoy it. We'll have more on the way as we move on through the next several months. Have a great day, and as always, stay safe out there.